adoption of the agenda. Do we have any changes?
No, sir. Not for staff.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Approval of minutes of the meeting from July 16, 2026. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Approve the minutes of July 16. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Approval of minutes of the special meeting, August 6, 2026. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We approve the minutes of the meeting of August 6. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. There being no old business, we'll move directly to new business. And first item is public comment. Anyone here wish to speak? Mr. Deepak as well. Come on.
Here?
Yeah.
Podium? Good afternoon, board members, staff. My name's Frankie Pasquale, and I live at 122 Madison Circle in Locust Grove. I am a resident of Lake of the Woods, a former member of the Lake of the Woods Board of Directors, and the current chair of the Orange County Planning Commission. I want to thank the RSA leadership for moving forward with the important sewage system preliminary implementation plan. I read through the documents, it's a good document, and I have a few points to make based on my experience as a Lowell board member with the fiber link installation. In reading the memorandum of August 14th, I would ask the board to ensure that the following three issues be considered. First, there doesn't seem to be any mention of staff involvement with Lake of the Woods. There are project kickoff meetings, progress meetings, etc., that are noted in the memorandum, but no mention of Lake of the Woods staff involvement in any of those meetings. With FiberLink, Lowell staff involvement was also absent early on in the project. We immediately remedied that. Lake of the Woods established 2 points of contact, one for member questions and complaints regarding the fiber optic installation, and another person to act as a liaison for the Lowell general manager with respect to progress updates and unforeseen challenges. Second, I would strongly suggest both parties establish a memorandum of understanding if it has not already been addressed. Candidly, scope of authority needs to be clarified in an MOU for all stakeholders. With FiberLink, early on in the project, there was great confusion regarding easements. Both Lake of the Woods and FiberLink initially had different understandings of the applicable easement, even though there was a written agreement with the easements addressed. Yet none of the Lake of the Woods or FiberLink's field staff had the easements that needed to be addressed. Thereafter, we provided both staffs with the contractual language. Third point, and I can't stress this enough, the importance of communication. Timely and relevant information will help Lowell members better understand whatever inconveniences they will experience. If this is not properly addressed, the social media warriors will gladly assert their own views. Regarding the FiberLink project, with the impressive speed in which they installed over 40 miles of fiber optic cable, notifying members of what area was next on the installation list was difficult. Both parties worked together in a concerted effort to inform people in advance of when the installation was to take place. Fortunately, both Lake of the Woods and RSA seem to both have excellent professionals in this regard. Please use them to their full potential. Hopefully the use of Lowell's media channels will also be available to RSA. This project is really important to Lake of the Woods. Appreciate your support, but these are just three thoughts I have for you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
TC Phillips, 126 Mount Vernon Court, Lake of the Woods. I'm the president of the Lake of the Woods Board. So I just wanted to echo what Frank said, is that the first time I saw this was Tuesday. So it's interesting. I just want to make sure that, like he said, the communication with the board and our COO at Lake of the Woods is crucial for this to be a successful effort. And I just think that that's important for us to do up front. And again, I saw none of that in the document as well. So I just would ask you that we include Lake of the Woods into the discussion, even on the engineering side. We saw that on some of the efforts that we have. We have to be involved even on the engineering, side. So that's what I would request that you do before you approve this effort, is make sure that we're involved in it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Okay, we'll move now to customer request.
We have one customer request, and Natalia will speak to that.
For this month, we have one customer request which came in on August 17th to consider for the board. The requester is a Lake of the Woods resident, Mr. Cody Blackburn. His request is to opt out of the wood vacuum sewer upgrade fee of $23.50. There's no specific reason stated on the request. You can see it on the agenda pages 7 and 8.
Can you speak to any follow-up that we had with this particular customer beyond his voicemail message?
I did give a call to him to make sure he is interested to bring it up to the board, considering that decision has been considered by the board a year ago. And he said yes, he would like his request to be heard during this meeting.
So we would look for any commentary from the board and a motion to either proceed with our existing policy and charges or deviate from those.
From what I've heard, you don't have any further information on it. Anything we don't know here. I move we stand by existing policy.
Is there a second to that?
Second to that.
Yeah, I think in order to consider this, we would have to request that he remove all his toilets from the house, all his sinks. Otherwise, we would not be able to do
That fee will be very important for this project we're talking about next.
that. Okay, all in favor of keeping, of the motion, which is keeping our policy the same, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right. Comments from the board?
Just one, as was noted by the two speakers regarding communication, I just want to commend David for the communication that's taking place with Madison County. I know last year they had some concerns regarding planning and moving forward, and David is doing a great job to work with county officials to keep them informed of where we are on our projects and answering questions and keeping them informed. And David is working on that.
Any other board comment?
I'd like to commend Adriel, David, and the staff on the July newsletter. Really well done, informative. Keep it going. I think it's a great first step. And then the second thing, and David, this might come up when we discuss the evaluation preliminary implementation plan. Any comments that you would have about your intentions for communication with Lake of the Woods staff in this first stage, and certainly assuming that all goes well going forward?
I would say while it's not exclusive,
let's not get into
Just get
that.
into it,
Let's
yes.
do that on the next item. Is any other board comment? Okay, so we'll move now to item D, which is Lake of the Woods Sewer System Evaluation and Preliminary Implementation Plan, Wade Trim Associates proposal.
Okay. So in the last couple months, we've been working with one of our term contract engineering firms, Wade Trim, to kick off this Lake of the Woods sewer system project that will ultimately result in replacement of the aging pump stations, which was the subject of the previous engineering study. This engineering firm was selected due to its extensive experience with vacuum sewer systems across the country. It's very important to staff that we approach this project. The pump station replacements are the end goal after we've optimized the vacuum system, identified feasible opportunities for gravity sewer conversions, and planned carefully for the resulting needs of the pump stations. This first project will establish the foundation for all that future work as we strive to improve the reliability and overall performance of the sewer system in Lake of the Woods. And I'll add that we do value our relationship with Lake of the Woods Association. We've met with management already. We have a recurring meeting set up on a quarterly basis. The next meeting of which I believe is the 27th of this month. So they're a very important part of this process, especially when it comes to easements. We certainly want to make sure that we're not stepping on each other's toes. Obviously, we're pulling from essentially the same pool of money, and we want to make sure that the shared members and customers that we represent are benefiting from our actions. With that said, I would ask the board to authorize the general manager to execute the project order with Wade Trim Associates and proceed with this work. And I will answer any questions that you might have.
David, would you remind me of the process to vet the various engineering firms that you have on your list and how the decision is made which one to use for the project?
Right. So earlier this year, we put out an RFP for term contracts with engineering firms. And that essentially allows us to have an inventory of engineering firms that we can select from for projects that we might be working on. Now, some larger projects you might go out to bid specifically for that project. In this case, Wade Trim offered some real advantages for vacuum sewer in particular. They're based in Florida. They have worked on a lot of vacuum systems in Florida where they're more common. So for us, with them as one of our 6 contract engineering firms, they were the obvious choice for this project in particular.
Is there any obligation to go with them for next stages?
There's not. Just what's defined in this scope.
And one last question, then I'll stop. You talked about optimizing the system with the pump station replacement being the end goal. Without getting too far out over our skis, what are some other intermediate steps before the pump station replacement?
There are some areas of the vacuum system, especially in Station K, as one example, where we have a hard time keeping vacuum near the end of the line. So that would be one of the first areas that we look at to try to improve vacuum to make service a little more reliable. That might involve changing out segments of the vacuum line, installing monitoring equipment, installing new valves. But if we're able to improve the performance of the vacuum system, that changes how the pump stations are ultimately designed. So it's important that we tackle that first and at least come up with some guidelines on how we make decisions going forward.
Thank you.
What's the time frame on completing this type of work? First, I guess you're gonna be looking at evaluations on what you're gonna do in the next phase. And what does the next phase look like? Is that a couple of years, or what is the timeline on
So the project order 2 that we're already looking at is not presented today, but it is up for consideration. It is an evaluation of Station K in particular, with the goal of learning some lessons in project order 1, applying them to Station K for some early wins, and then proceeding kind of on that same station by station basis to make improvements where we have documented issues now. And that's going to inform the pump station project. Regarding timeline, if you look at page 16 of your board packet, which is page 6 of the project order proposal, that lays out the duration of each task. There are 5 tasks. And there's a column with the title, the duration in weeks, and a completion milestone in weeks.
So what we're being asked to approve today is basically a 4-month process.
Right.
This would come out of the $23.50 fee pot that we collected.
That's right.
Okay, any further questions?
I move that we approve the proposal.
Been moved that we approve the proposal,
I move that we second the proposal.
and it's been seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, let's get a roll call.
Coppedge. Aye. Davies.
Aye.
Elliott.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye. All right, next up is item E, Madison Water System Redundancy and Resiliency Improvement.
All that the board accepted an initial offer from Virginia Department of Health for $6,038,281 in grant and loan funding for water system improvements. Staff has met with our financial consultant and VDH to move this project forward, and we're now prepared to assign the engineering work to a consulting engineering firm. We've selected Rinker Design Associates for this work as they have vast experience doing this type of full service design and construction oversight work across the state for similarly sized water systems. The lump sum amount proposed by Rinker aligns with the amount budgeted in our funding application last May. So I would ask that the board authorize the general manager to execute this project order to move the project forward towards closing on the VDH funding and constructing the improvements.
Okay, questions?
So David, could you just briefly explain to us what the intent is, of where we're going and what we're doing, please?
Sure. So this section of your board packet starts on page 18. And you can see the memorandum that summarizes the project more broadly and also gets into the particular proposal that we're bringing today. Generally speaking, the goal of the project as it was presented to VDH last May is to replace some aging infrastructure, in particular the transmission main on Thrift Road from the water plant to Main Street, which is a 1960s vintage cast iron line. Provide an extension down Main Street, crossing 29 towards Fishback, and creating a loop back to Maple Drive. Maple Drive is another area where we have aging infrastructure. We're out there fairly often with some leaks. It's some old AC pipe. So we'd be removing the remainder of our cast iron pipe from the 60s and our AC pipe from around the same era. There's also some electrical upgrades at the plant, installing a generator and ATS, and moving some things off an old electric service. So the goal is mostly resiliency, redundancy with that loop, and that's something that VDH agreed was a good project.
So is there a sunset clause where it's gotta be done by a certain time?
There is a 12-month countdown that starts soon on closing on the loan to get the additional 0.25% discount on the rate. There's not necessarily a deadline on the construction, but we are trying to move this thing along pretty quickly towards the bid stage so that we can close on the loan within 12 months if possible.
You got any idea what the estimated time would be if stuff comes along like you think it would?
There should be a timeline here for the design, and that should also speak to construction. So once the construction starts, they're anticipating a 48-week period for construction. So there's some different things that can hold us up to getting to that point. All the VDH approvals, the easements, it's not certain how long it will take, but they're estimating 48 weeks for construction.
David, you mentioned the $6 million loan and grant funding, and there are 3 or 4 projects in this board packet. They don't total up to that. What? I got like 2 million plus. What's the variation there?
You're talking about this project in particular, or?
No, there are, I think, 3 Madison projects in here of different amounts. Do they all fall under the $6 million grant?
They do not.
They do
So
not.
this, it's 1.3 million in grants and 4.7 in loan. And we've kept this separate because it is, there's funding set aside for this project in particular. So that's why we presented it separately.
Do you anticipate using the full $6 million for this and subsequent projects?
For this project in particular, this is a water project, yes.
This is just the first chunk of the 6 million. It's going for this.
The
This
6
part.
million is for this project. It could change a little bit once we get to.
I'm talking about what you're asking us to approve today. It's just the first
This
phase.
just for the engineering, right? So it's the maximum total combined fee of $700,000 for preliminary engineering, securing regulatory approvals, easements, doing the design engineering, and also overseeing construction.
Okay, any more questions?
I was just reading here, and I would say 17,500 foot of line. Be real lucky if 6 million does it.
Is this current line, I'm sure there's a right of way for that line. And the new one will probably have to go back in the same right of way.
On Thrift Road will probably be in VDOT right of way, maybe the other side of the road, but most likely we would stick to VDOT right of way. We wouldn't be able to remove the old one until we put the new one in, so it won't be in exactly the same place, but probably just on the other side of the road.
Small test.
I have to say that phase of it is an important one. Right now, we're talking 1960s line, and if that line goes down, we have no way to get water into that system. So it's a critical piece of the puzzle.
That's just a 6-inch line, correct?
Currently.
Okay, any other questions? We have a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Coppedge,
Aye.
Davies,
Aye.
Elliott,
Aye.
Marshall,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye. Okay, next up is item F, which is the Madison WWTP effluent alcohol line, again, Reeker Design Associates proposal.
As you know, the upgrade of the Madison wastewater treatment plant is well underway. But in order to increase the permitted capacity of the plant, a new outfall line will need to be run to the Robinson River. Reeker Design Associates has proposed to provide start-to-finish services for securing easements, all the way through overseeing construction. It's time to take some actions and get it done. So I would ask that the board authorize the general manager to execute this project order and proceed with the new outfall line design.
Any questions about this project?
I got a couple. So the plant, I've been overlooked and it's moving along real nicely. So I guess the concern is it, are we gonna be possible for us to have the outfall when the plant's done?
It's looking like the outfall will be finished a little bit past when the plant is done. So we're permitted to continue releasing from the existing outfall at the current 80,000 gallons per day. But we're going to be held up on the increase to 160,000 until the outfall line is done.
And you anticipate the plant being finished roughly?
I would say the plant should be finished by sometime in 2028. I mean, there's a couple of different milestones. When the new infrastructure is ready to go online, and then we do some more demo, build some more. So by the end of 2027, I would hope that we're able to run the new plant. And then the complete project will be sometime later in 2028.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, can I get a motion to approve as presented? Discussion? Roll call?
Hoppage.
Aye.
Davies.
Aye.
Elliott.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye. Okay, item G, Madison Water and Sewer System Capital Improvements Plan, Reeker Design Associates proposal.
Okay. So as we move forward with increasing sewer capacity in Madison, we'll certainly be facing some increased development pressure within and beyond the current service area for water and sewer. Reeker Design Associates was asked to provide a project order to review our current systems and also recommend critical capital improvement projects that will allow for an expanded service area. RSA staff recognizes the importance of approaching expansions in a deliberate and well thought out manner to avoid the challenges of piecemeal, fragmented, poorly designed systems. With that in mind, I would ask the board to authorize the general manager to execute this project order with Reeker Design Associates. And I'll just add that you can look at this particular project as sort of a master planning effort. What we want to know is when somebody comes to the county or to RSA and asks, can we have service over here? What is that going to mean for us? What pump stations do we need? What force mains do we need? And that's all done ahead of time so that you don't have someone proposing to put in a bunch of grinder pumps and tiny little pump stations. This is a very forward-looking plan that's going to involve some hydraulic studies and ultimately a list of capital projects that we can use for future planning efforts.
Okay, questions?
Just comment, I think this is really important that we, as I mentioned earlier in the communication with the county, I think it's essential to have this information so that we can work hand in hand as a county plans for the growth that David's talking about. So I just gathered a lot of the information that the county has been requested for their planning purposes.
What is the actual interface between RSA and the county planning?
It has changed over the years. So I met with them a few weeks ago to talk about some of these things that we talked about before. But one of the biggest things is this idea of defining a service area and being able to tell someone who's looking to connect what exactly any inquiries that come into the county make it to RSA, so that we can be thinking about those expansions or any kind of future connections.
Okay, any other questions?
So I guess with all these houses that we've asked for, the budget's okay, the money's okay, we're good.
This particular project is a little bit smaller than the others that I brought to you today. These available. There's a certain amount of EDU purchases that we can safely rely on. So we do have to be cautious as we proceed with this type of thing and not make major investments before the revenue's here. But this is a big part of that, and knowing exactly what we need so that we can ask for it from a developer or from whoever's asking to connect in the future.
Okay, any other questions? Someone care to make a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Coppedge,
Aye.
Davies,
Aye.
Elliott,
Aye.
Marshall,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye. All right, item H is the general manager report.
You have a few items. First, just an update on the boil water notice in Lakewood Woods. Yesterday morning, RSA crews responded to a water main break on Happy Creek Road in Lakewood Woods. The leak was isolated pretty quickly. We repaired it pretty quickly, but we did receive some reports of low pressure or no pressure in the general area of the leak. So in that situation, we're required to make a determination of whether to issue a boil water advisory. Due to the localized pressure drop that extended a little bit beyond the actual leak site, there's a potential for contamination. So we made the call in the early afternoon to issue a boil water advisory for 5 streets that surrounded the leak site that experienced reduced pressure. This precautionary measure was communicated to the impacted customers by phone and email through our billing system. And the county also used their reverse 911 system to notify residents in the area. We did receive some feedback from customers that were concerned that they didn't receive notice earlier about the water main break. While we did notify those who were in the immediate outage area where service was being disconnected, other customers were not notified directly until the boil water advisory is issued. So we will be reviewing some of our communication protocols, especially for a case like this, which goes a little bit beyond a planned outage where we would just notify those that are impacted. This morning, we sent out another notification to customers in the advisory area, directed them to the recent news page on our website, where we've posted an update. And we will continue to provide updates on at least a daily basis as information is available, or more often as we need to provide additional clarity. Assuming that all the test results from yesterday and today come back good, then we would be able to lift the advisory as soon as tomorrow. We should have results from yesterday's test sometime today, and with results from today's tests at some point tomorrow for total coliform bacteria. The Virginia Drought Monitoring Task Force met most recently on August advisory. Reservoir and stream flow levels across the region are considered normal. Precipitation is at a watch status, and groundwater levels remain at an emergency status. RSA systems continue to operate without issue. The calculated stream flow at our wilderness intake this morning was 225 cubic feet per second, which is equivalent to 145 million gallons per day. So unlike previous months, we're hovering right around what is considered average when you look back at the historical data. The Orange County Drought Committee continues to meet every other week and publish joint social media posts informing the public about water conservation. It's looking a little bit better now than it did a couple months ago with all the rainfall we've had recently, and we'll continue to monitor it on a daily basis. Moving on to construction project updates, just a couple. The Madison wastewater treatment plant contractor is preparing to pour concrete pads for the new electrical building and also install the new influent pump station wet well. And currently on schedule, maybe a little bit ahead of schedule, with no change orders so far. On Route 20, the old meter vault is scheduled to be removed in the first week of September, at which point we will disconnect the wells and start purchasing water from the town of Orange. Moving on to VDH funding coordination, like I mentioned earlier, RSA staff met with VDH Office of Drinking Water staff on August 5th to discuss the funding offers for Madison and for Wilderness, and we're expecting to receive the official award letters soon. The engineering work for Wilderness, we're still working on getting those proposals, so a little bit further out. The good thing about that particular project is that we can close on the loan as soon as we have the engineering in place. So unlike a traditional VDH construction loan, you don't have to wait until we have bids in for construction, since this is only a planning and design project. Moving on to the asset management plan, on August 13th, staff met with representatives from Hazen and Sawyer, one of our other engineering firms, regarding our asset management plan and our unidirectional flushing plan. They've taken an initial look at our existing asset data and GIS and are asking those projects by next month's meeting. Quick communications update on pages 41 and 42 of your agenda packet. You'll find Adriel's public affairs update. Over the past month, he's held several meetings with regional environmental groups to help establish positive relationships. We've developed an SOP for customer notifications, and we've published our first monthly newsletter. Our Facebook following has more than doubled, all the way up to 67, maybe higher as of today. But we're seeing an increase in engagement, so that means that our followers should continue to increase over time. And moving on to the last page of your packet, the financial update. Just to provide some additional context to that information, water sales increased slightly from from June to July, as expected. In Orange County, revenue was higher than during the same period of last year, while revenue in Madison lagged behind the same period last year. The theory is increased rainfall, people are using a little less water. Overall, our net income is well above the budget expectation, meaning that we're able to save for future projects. Staff will be starting soon on budget preparation for 2027. That's all I have.
All right, any questions for David?
One question, David. Any engagement with the county or that regional water authority about possibilities for an impoundment or a reservoir or anything like that?
Had some high-level discussions with the county, but we're really waiting to see what comes out of this regional water supply effort. As you know, we appointed some new representatives, myself and you, to that task force. So I think that'll be really important in talking about water supply for the entire region. And of course, conversations will continue between RSA and the county.
How frequently does that group meet, regional?
think they've scaled it back quite a bit, maybe on a quarterly basis. They haven't met since we've assumed our roles.
Thank you. You'll be paid more than All right, any other questions for David? Okay. Attorney report.
Well, I didn't bring a check this time, but since the last meeting on PFAS, we had a deadline for claim 2, phase 2 claims, and we had submitted that. We confirmed that we are now in phase 2. We've been told, as they always say in this class, so I'm hopeful every meeting I have a check, but I can't guarantee. But it will continue. Also, if we do discover PFAS, and we've been fortunate because we haven't had any measurable PFAS, but we've still got money, go figure. But if something does arise, this is set up so that there is a master deadline in 2030 to file supplemental claims. So just keep that in mind. Put that on my calendar, being a very optimistic person. It's on my calendar for 2030. So we'll see. And that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you, sir. I should have mentioned this in comments from the board, and I just forgot about it. And just on a personal note, I submitted my resignation to Orange County from this board effective December 31st. So just letting everyone know that at the end of the year, I'll be riding off into the sunset. Okay, we have a closed session
Yes.
motion.
I have a suggested motion to enter into closed session at the regular meeting of Board of Members of Rapidan Service Authority on August 20th, 2026. I move that the Board of Members of Rapidan Service Authority enter into closed session for the following pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A7 and 8 respectively. A, consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members pertaining to probable litigation, where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the board. And B, consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters related to the foregoing items. So I would need that in the form of a motion.
Okay, can I get a motion? So moved. Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're in closed session.
The board to it.